There are times when I have many different things to say, but am struggling with the structure of how to say them. I typically title these videos My Thoughts. And so, today I want to talk about expectation and how it's okay to set expectations. Perhaps it's not helpful, perhaps it's not necessarily healthy, but it's okay. And if you've set an expectation about something in your life, maybe it's a romantic relationship, maybe it's a dating scenario, maybe it's getting that new job, or traveling somewhere, or seeing a loved one, or a reaction that a family member might have. I just want to let you know that that's okay. Setting expectations is part of who we are. It helps us feel that we have some control over what's coming next. Now, it's a habit that we should get out of, and that is exceedingly hard, particularly when we don't have any sort of structure to help offset that expectation. But it is doable. And whenever an expectation blows up in our face, it's important to learn what lessons we can learn from that, because the other alternative is just to sit and be miserable and cry about it, right? I want you to think about a time where you really hoped something would happen. This can be it doesn't need to be related to dating or romance. It can be related to anything. Maybe in 2020 you wanted to travel somewhere and then COVID struck in March. At least took off in March. And maybe you were really bummed out because maybe you really, really needed that vacation. Maybe you were dating somebody for 3 years and you expected you would get married to them, and then that fell apart. And I want you to know that it's okay to set these expectations. They are examples of how we can grow. You know, the funny thing, and one of the reasons that I decided to create a whole YouTube channel talking about such a negative thing, breakups, is though breakups are one of the most painful things that we can go through, they are also one of the greatest opportunities to grow you will ever have. And not only that, but they're the almighty identifiers, right? Romance, love. When you're dealing in a romantic or, a situation regarding love or dating, you're hyper aware of what you don't like about yourself. I mean, it's just there plain as day. I don't think I'm attractive. I don't think I have many friends. I don't think I'm interesting enough. I don't know how to flirt with people. I don't feel worthy to receive that. And so the reason I mention that, other than this being a breakup channel, is because expectations aren't always positive. Sometimes they're negative too. And aren't those just examples of negative expectations? I expect that they will not love me. I expect that this will not work out. I expect that a bad thing will happen. And a negative expectation aimed at the self is just a self-limiting belief. So how do we overcome self-limiting beliefs? How do we prevent ourselves from setting expectations? So I'm going to go against the grain here and say I'm one of the few humans that believe that avoiding the setting of expectations is basically impossible. That doesn't mean you can't play down the importance of the expectation, but I think setting an expectation is sort of an automatic process we don't have a hell of a lot of control over. And you guys may feel free to disagree with me. This is an opinion channel, not a fact. But I think being able to set expectations is very normal for our survival, right? Particularly given feedback and information and what's usually happened, and we set expectations about what will probably happen. And in those moments where something didn't go the way we planned, that's another example of all those times those self-limiting beliefs, those core wounds, show themselves. I can even use an example outside the context of dating. A long time ago, I applied for a very, very big, very well-known company. All of you know it. I'm not going to say what company it was, but it related to the set of skills that I had prior to doing any of the life coaching work. And this is the type of company that has you go through several rounds of interviews. And so I made it through round 1. They asked me to come back. I made it through round 2. They said, we think you're a great fit for the job. Can you come back for one more? And of course, on round 3, the final interview, I didn't get the job. And maybe one day I'll say what it was. And every self-limiting belief I had came flowing out of me at that moment. I'm no good. I'm not talented enough. They don't like me because of some flaw in me. And I've said this before. Interviewing for a job, interviewing for romance, it's a process of selection, not of rejection. But it always feels like rejection, and that's what I push against. Just because it did not work out the way you expected does not mean that you were rejected. Look at that. I'm a lyrical wordsmith. And you're going to find that this happens a lot in a lifetime. Maybe you and a partner were going to get married, and that fell apart. That's happened to me. Maybe you were dating somebody and things were going well, and then it fell apart. That's happened to all of us. Maybe you were applying for a job, and it fell apart. It's happened to all of us. Expectations don't necessarily need to be limited to romance or dating or jobs or family. They can be related to anything. And some expectations are inconsequential, right? I tried to cook this one dish, and I expect that it will turn out well, and it didn't. Oh no. You're probably not going to beat yourself up about that all day. Well, you might if you were cooking it for somebody, like a date. But other than that, it's about examining the feelings that happen after the expectation doesn't go the way you thought it would. What can you learn about yourself? How can you grow? Can you write down the feelings that you're going through and experiencing and boil them down into one sentence? I don't feel good. And I don't feel good because so-and-so rejected me. Right, we're going to keep going back to that word rejection. It's not a correct word, but it is the word we usually throw at ourselves. So because so-and-so rejected me, that means I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough because I'm overweight. I'm not good enough because I'm unlovable in some fashion. I'm unlovable because I'm not at least 6'2", right? Whatever the self-limiting belief we have is. And in reality, nobody else can hear those self-limiting beliefs, only you can. If you're walking down the street, next time you go to the store, look around. Do you see anybody wearing their self-beliefs on their sleeve? And you don't either. We're not mind readers, but we all think we are. Have you ever gone to the gym and worried about what you'll look like when you're exercising? Maybe you're not proficient. Maybe you're overweight and trying to better yourself. And there's a belief that everybody there will look at you and judge you. I can promise you they're not. They don't care. They're doing their own thing. So I guess this is just a reminder to take a look at some of the expectations that you currently have set up in your life and ask yourself, what's the fallout of this expectation not going the way I planned? Is there something I can do to temper my expectations and lessen them? Not because it's not fun to have expectations and hopes and dreams, but rather because I don't need to beat myself up and destroy myself just because this thing didn't work out. Just because that person didn't want to marry me doesn't mean I'm no good. Just because I didn't get that job doesn't mean I'm no good. Just because that person didn't want to continue to date doesn't mean I'm no good. Who you are is enough. And if there are repeated, intrusive, self-limiting beliefs, work on them. It's your responsibility to, as Jordan Peterson would say, treat yourself as though you're someone you should be helping. So, just some food for thought. I hope that this gets your brain thinking for this morning. And if you find yourself trapped in an overly negative mindset, do me a favor. Kick back and just try some mantras. I've been talking to people lately who are feeling particularly negative, and that's okay. You'd be surprised how much positive mantras actually help. And you guys know me. I'm a straight shooter. I don't believe in that woo-woo, be positive all the time, life's always amazing. No, sometimes life sucks, and sometimes life is purely suffering. But that's okay, because there are things that we could do. There are lessons we could learn, and there are ways that we can build ourselves up to go against that and create something pretty amazing. But it's not going to happen within the safety and comfort of your bedroom. So get up. Grow. It's your turn. I'll talk to you all next time.